Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Amelia Yudho Pratiwi, and today I would like to present about my research proposal entitled An Analysis of Figurative Language and Imagery on Avril Lavigne's Popular Songs. But before that, I would like to say thank you to both my advisors, Ma'am Umiati Jawats, PhD, and Ma'am Ayulin Skinasi, MPD, and to all my best friends who are now watching this video and participating in my online proposal seminar. Background of the study. Why do I combine figurative language and imagery? Because in this research, the researcher want to know more about figurative language through Avril Lavigne's songs and want to know kinds of figurative language and imagery in Avril Lavigne songs. It is really a bit about research of this topic. Why I choose Avril Lavigne songs? Because the lyrics that are described the feelings of broken-hearted, so the researcher can find a lot of data about figurative language and imagery from these selected songs. There are 7 my previous study. The first, Masrudi 2017 from State Islamic Institute IAIN of Tulungagung, and the second, Hadijah 2016 from Maulana Malik Ibrahim State Islamic University of Malang. Third, Wilya and Mariani 2018 from Sik Ikip Siliwangi Cimahi. Fourth, Yastanti Jajang and Rizky 2018 from Universitas Bima Sarana Informatika. Fifth, Yastanti and Safitri 2016 from Stiba Nusa Mandiri. Sixth, from Abdullah and Rahmawati 2018 from Stiba IAIC Bekasi, and the last, Nugraha 2018 from University Figurative Kanjuruhan Malang. From all of the previous study, they certain that was only focused on figurative language or imagery, but the differences among previous research are mostly in the previous study. In this research, the researcher focused on the combination of figurative language and imagery. Moreover, Avril Lavigne's selected song, which is used is to describe the feelings of broken-hearted. Now, the problem of the study. The first, what figurative language tends to be mostly used in Avril Lavigne's selected songs. To find out the dominant figurative language in Avril Lavigne's selected songs. And the second, what is the imagery mostly used in Avril Lavigne's selected songs? To find out the dominant imagery in Avril Lavigne's selected songs. And the third, why the figurative language and imagery are used in the lyric of Avril Lavigne's selected song. To explain the reason for figurative language and imagery are used in the lyric of Avril Lavigne's selected song. Scope and limitation. The researcher focuses on the analysis of figurative language and imagery in the lyric of the selected Avril Lavigne songs, which are When You're Gone, Wish You Were Here, I'm With You, My Happy Ending, and Don't Tell Me. The researcher focuses on analyzing the use of Knickerbocker, Renninger's theory, and Crumb's theory. Significance of this study. Theoretically, this study will be able to give a contribution to acquiring, improving, and developing knowledge concerning the figurative language and imagery used in the song lyrics. Practically, this study is expected to give some information about the types of figurative language and types of imagery for students of the English department and language learners. Now, I'm going to capture 2 research methods. Research design. In this research, the researcher uses descriptive qualitative with content analysis as the model of analysis the data. It is a research technique for making replicable and valid inferences from text to the context. It is used because the object of this research is the lyric of the song, which is a written text. Data source. The researcher gets the data by listening to selected song and transcribing it. The selected Avril Lavigne songs are When You're Gone, Wish You Were Here, I'm With You, My Happy Ending, and Don't Tell Me. In order to reducing the mistake while transcribing the lyric, the researcher is finding out the lyric of the selected song in the website of www.genius.com. Then the transcript will be checked with the lyric from the website. And instrument. The main instrument of this research is researcher herself. The instruments that are used by the researcher that are the selected songs and the transcription, which are gotten from field note and documentation. Data collection method. In this research, the researcher uses two techniques only: transcribing and documentation. The steps are: the first, transcribing all the selected song lyric, and the second, checking the transcription with the lyrics from the Genius, and the third, printing the lyric. Data analysis. The researcher uses the component to analyze data from Avril Lavigne selected songs. The first, unitizing. The researcher only focuses on figurative language theory of Knickerbocker and Renninger 1963 and imagery theory by Cram 2006. The second, sampling. In this step, the researcher takes a sample of figurative language and imagery based on theories used. And the third, recording or coding. There are 8 kinds of figurative language such as metaphor, hyperbole, simile, personification, paradox, irony, death metaphor, and allusions. And there are 7 kinds of imagery such as visual imagery, auditory imagery, olfactory imagery, tactile imagery, gustatory imagery, organic imagery, and kinesthetic imagery. This is the example of the data, and the display is like this. You can see by yourself. Here, there is a lyric and also figurative language and imagery. Kinds of figurative language are the alphabet S represents simile, alphabet M represent metaphor, alphabet PS represent personification, alphabet H represent hyperbole, alphabet IR represent irony, alphabet PR represent paradox, alphabet TM represent death metaphor. The alphabet AL represent allusion. And kinds of imagery are the alphabet VI represent visual imagery, the alphabet AU represent auditory imagery, and the alphabet OL represent olfactory imagery, the alphabet TA represent tactile imagery, the alphabet GU represent gustatory imagery, the alphabet OR represent organic imagery, and the alphabet KI represent kinesthetic imagery. Fourth, reducing. In this step, the researcher is listing the kind of figurative language and knowing the frequency of each type to make efficient representation. Then, the researcher makes a percentage calculation of kinds of figurative language and imagery. And fifth, inferring. The researcher gives the conclusion from the data or the result of interpretation about percentage of each kind of figurative language and imagery. And 6. Narrating. In this step, the researcher narrates and informs about the result or the findings of data to share to the readers that this study gives a benefit for them and the researcher itself. Data validation. In this research, the researcher uses data validator. The purpose is to avoid mistake in the result of the study and to examine validity and reliability of the data. The researcher asks for a help from expert validator. The researcher chooses Mrs. Isitimavula MPT, who is English lecturer at PGRI Kanjuruhan University, to discuss the finding, especially about figurative language and imagery through Avril Lavigne's latest songs, and uses the theory of Knickerbocker and Cram as theory of triangulation. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for participating on my online thesis proposal seminar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.